Big up, big up, big up. Welcome back to the Liverpool 12 Man Show. I am just getting settled here ready for another episode, another glorious episode of speaking about some of the ills and some of the thrills of Liverpool football. And we all know it begins with the sheer fact that we are one step closer to bringing in a coach. We are also Andoni Iraola is the era of Iraola is about to begin. It appears just days away from beginning. Obviously, now Arne Slot era is over 2 years after it started. And if the reports from Fabrizio Romano and multiple outlets are accurate, Liverpool have finally moved into great territory of getting this finished and signed. They've been moving very quickly and are making one of the biggest decisions I think that we've made in the last 3 years, I guess you could say. Now going on third year, so it is one that's interesting because it is going to be one that some people are on board with, some people aren't. Some people having a little bit of PTSD from the last experience that we had of the highs and the lows. And tonight isn't just about Iraola. Tonight's also about the questions that come with him. Did Liverpool build the wrong squad, for instance, for the style they're now trying to play? Did Richard Hughes and Michael Edwards create a roster that fits Arne Slot, which I believe they have, more than it fits Jurgen Klopp heavy metal style football DNA? And perhaps more importantly, are Liverpool about to hand one of the biggest jobs in the world of football to a manager who Jamie Carragher believes might be arriving a year too early? We'll discuss all that. I might have a panel. I might not. I know some of the guys are either sleeping or they're working or they are maybe even on other panels. So for right now, I hope that you enjoy my company as we are going to get into a lot of what we have to deal with. And that is some important things too, because there are some important announcements that have been made. We'll have a quick kicks segment where I'll get into a lot of the topics that are happening in the football world. But most importantly, we do have to talk about Kenny Dalglish. After the heartbreaking announcement regarding his cancer diagnosis, we're going to talk about Konate increasingly likely to move to Real Madrid, or I believe it might even be finalized. We'll talk about Andy Robertson's emotional farewell. We'll just talk about Curtis Jones, Denzel Dumfries, Rio. We'll talk about the Liverpool Academy. We'll talk about the future of football in Liverpool. And because this is one of those shows that, especially when I'm solo, it makes it a little bit more of a, you have to help me so I can help you enjoy the show. And that is just participate, enjoy. If you can't, cool. Just sit back and enjoy the conversation. Because Liverpool aren't just hiring a manager, obviously. We are hiring someone that is going to be the caretaker of this club going forward. And we've already made what I saw, which is one step forward and two steps back with Arne Slot. We can't go backwards anymore. So let's get into it. I hope that everyone's well. Shout out to Red Armchair supporters showing the love by giving out a little suggestion to the people. I appreciate that. And if you can, definitely, when you get through the door, just click the like. It's not that big of a deal. It's look at it as like you paying a toll to get in or something. I don't know, or you're just doing your duty, that kind of deal. Because it does make a difference. So let's begin with segment one. I have because I spoke about Jamie Carragher and how he's sending off a warning shot basically to a lot of people in our community. I know that some of Jamie's takes are kind of some of them are bold and some of them are just for what they are, poppycock and all that stuff. But one of the most fascinating conversations to emerge since Arne Slot's departure came from Jamie, because while many supporters are celebrating the possibility of a new coach bringing back high intensity football, Jamie believes Liverpool might have accidentally built a squad that isn't naturally fit to suit that right now. Gone are the players of like Lucho and Nunez, you know. Gone are the players of like, oh, Elliott's coming back, but still, gone are these players that were fast and were all about intensity and all about energy and chaos. But think about the players Liverpool have invested in. And that is where we're going to focus in on what Jamie had to say. And that is Alexander Isak, Florian Wirtz, Hugo Ekitike, even Alexis McAllister as a central figure in this system all bring up some concerns, and rightfully so. I can understand why people would think that. I mean, people are already calling out the warning bells for McAllister and the way that he's been harboring, I don't know, maybe an injury or just harboring an inability to get back to the level that he needs to be consistently. Excuse me. And James' concern is these players were recruited for a more controlled possession-based style under Slot. And it makes sense. It does. I mean, we all know that that's what Arnie was shooting for when it came to his when it came to what he was trying to incorporate. And it's not really the chaos and relentless pressing associated with heavy metal football. It's just not. And honestly, it's a fair discussion. When Liverpool were at their very best under Klopp, we suffocated teams. We were every pass felt rushed, every touch felt pressured. You had people tracking back like Mane and Bobby. We felt like that inevitable force that was going to always hunt down and pursue that ball, whether it was in our third or their third, did not matter. And last season, that virtually disappeared. There were remnants of it every once in a blue moon, but it basically disappeared. And the football seemed, I just call it for what it is. It was boring to me, but because it was slower, it was less creative, it was conservative, became more methodical, became possession-based football. Just that, because more important than pressure, it's about having the ball. And while some supporters approach that as being good for our football team, others like myself thought that was Liverpool losing its identity. And Jamie pointed specifically at Isak, Wirtz, and Ekitike. Now, I don't know if you believe that they are the prime players that just are going to struggle with a high-intensity pressing type football. He questioned whether they possess the intensity required to lead in a Iraola, press for 90 minutes. Now let's challenge that argument, and that's what we're all here to do. Wirtz was part of one of Europe's most aggressive pressing systems at Bayern Leverkusen. So I don't really question the fact of if he can press. And if anything, I'm not really bothered if he doesn't press with the intensity of everyone else. He has shown repeatedly that he can work. The question isn't effort, it's about role in this team. And then if you really ask supporters, at least the ones that I've engaged with, they believe Wirtz struggled because Slot kept moving him centrally rather than allowing him to operate on the left, where we just spoke about it yesterday, where Germany plays him and he plays very well, plays free and open, and is able to be successful on that side of the pitch. Big up High Lore. Big up to AR, by the way. Just chiming in. How are you guys? But then there's Isak, excuse me. For me, this is where I think context matters, because Isak's Liverpool career has already been unfortunately disrupted by injuries. And that's been the biggest concern about this player, even before he came to Liverpool, is his injury record. Is he an injury-prone player? And if he is an injury-prone player, we don't need more of those players on this team, despite his talent. So he's got a broken leg. He's got stop-start availability. He had to work his way back into shape when he initially came over on the transfer. And then when he got injured, he got to work his way back into shape for that as well. It's difficult to judge his pressing numbers when he has rarely operated at full fitness. You take Ekitike, and that's an interesting one. Ekitike has the energy. He has the I think the frame, the physicality to maybe even get involved in trying to press. But the young Frenchman was arguably Liverpool's brightest attacking players last season, arguably. But Jamie still questions whether his natural game aligns with Klopp football or Klopp style football, heavy metal football. And does Liverpool want technicians or does Liverpool want athletes? That's what I'm stuck asking myself. Can they have both? Can Iraola create a system that gets the best from elite attacking talent while also restoring the intensity supporters crave? I'd even go as far as to say the technicians that I'm talking about, we all wanted to see more technical, gifted players, but that engine that we all relied on tended to be workhorses. Jenny, Hendo, those kinds of Milner, those kinds of workhorses in our midfield. But if our coach, or our soon-to-be new coach, Ken, Liverpool could become one of the most exciting teams in Europe again. And I really do believe that. People were very intensely intrigued by Bournemouth this season and the excitement and the style that they played, which was high energy. And if we can get that, it'll be fantastic. If we can't, we may spend next season watching talented players struggle to fit a system they weren't recruited for. And that's why I was sounding the alarm bell when people were saying, or not you and I, but like guys and the pundits were saying that most likely Arne Slot was going to stay. And it meant like if he's going to stay, then they're going to have to get him more pieces that fit his style of football and take us further away from the football that we enjoyed. So I don't know if Jamie Carragher is right, but I do know that Liverpool accidentally built a squad for Slot more so than for Iraola. But did we stop that process soon enough to be able to get the necessary pieces in this team that are going to make a difference? And that's what I'm asking you in the chat. How do you feel about that? How do you feel about whether we have or have not taken the time and the effort to do what we need to do and bring in the right pieces? That's where we're at. Let me see if you guys say what you guys want to say. Pundits and experts seem to ask questions from the view that things are static. And people can't change and evolve. It's either black or white. Hyler bets anyone have been out of shape, and when you train, you get better. It's like that on all levels, no matter how fit you are. There is a recruitment interview out with Semenyo where he describes how it was at Bournemouth and how things evolved, and then to his departure from Man City. I'll have to. All right, I'll take it. I'll take a look at it. Take a look at it. I have a cut under my eye, so on my eyelid, so there will be times when I'm struggling with my eye here. But I will check it out. I will check it out. Maybe when I can see completely, I'll check it out. I'll check it out. But what do you feel? Do you feel that Liverpool have built a squad for slot and have possibly taken us a year back in the progress and the stability of a team set up for Klopp style football? Cool. I will mark that. I will star that so I can remember to watch that. It is a real question, though. It is a real question, and does that mean that Liverpool need not only a summer window, but maybe even a January window to kind of bring in players, condition them in, because it's going to be a World Cup year where you're not going to be able to have a fully intent training session with your football players, and then take it to the next level where you can bring them into the light of what they can do and what they can't do, and make an accurate decision as to what to move on to and everything else. Evening, Red Armchair supporter. Hope you're well, for sure. The race to make Liverpool's next manager is certainly accelerating rapidly, like I said. I have a segment here called Quick Kicks. We've done it before. But it's basically short stories. It'll be quick stories, and I'll try to get as many of them in as possible, because there's a lot happening around Liverpool Football Club. There's a lot happening around the football world in general, and it obviously all revolves around one name right now, and that's Iraola. The latest report suggests Liverpool have now entered former talks with the Spaniards' representative as Richard Hughes leads the search for Arne Slot's replacement. Now, what's interesting here is how quickly and how quickly Liverpool appear to have moved on. There are some of us, I don't know if you have these concerns as well, but I mean, there are some of us that have the concern of saying, okay, we should have had this obviously written in or figured out before. But here we are. And Iraola has some real concerns behind him. It is a gamble. Now, I just spoke about Jamie talking about the fact that maybe he's a year too late, because Iraola could have possibly, brought that team that Klopp had to a Premier League title. But I think that when you're conducting a lengthy search, you're going to feel like you have a favorite despite having multiple options on the table. And this feels like a club that identifies its preferred target almost immediately. And I'd even go as far as to say it's also because of the relationship that Hughes and Iraola already have. That is like, okay, you can do better. You can utilize relationships or try to get into coaches that aren't such a layup for you, that you already signed and gave opportunities and worked with. But then again, he does have 1 year left on his contract, Hughes, and as long as Edwards. And that means that bringing in a coach like that could be his last move before he moves on himself. And what does that do for the next sporting director, who might have a different vision, might have a different preference in coach, or might have a different idea? So it is interesting to see what's going to happen with that as well. Big up, Mark. And big up to Emery. Big up to Dara. How are you? How are you, Dara? This feels like a club, though, like I said, that has identified its preferred target. And I'm glad to know that we've at least gotten a step closer to bring in the guy that we believe is going to make a difference. Time, though, tells you everything. The timeline tells you everything. The club wants certainty. The club wants preparation. Obviously, the club wants their next manager heavily involved in summer planning. While Iraola remains an overwhelming favorite, he isn't the only candidate. There is Sebastian Hoeneß of Stuttgart. There's even I didn't even know of this coach being an option, but apparently Pierre Sage of Lens remain on Liverpool's shortlist. Hoeneß, we all know, because he's been on that list for a while, has done an exceptional job in Germany. He's taken Stuttgart to the Champions League while building one of the Bundesliga's most exciting projects, I call it, because you see their efforts and the way that they pursue football, and it's definitely a German style of football. But one of his own players recently said he couldn't imagine training under a better coach. That's a remarkable endorsement. Pierre Sage, meanwhile, continues to be viewed as one of France's brightest coaching minds. And yet every indication suggests that Liverpool have already chosen their man. And then why I say that is because Fabrizio Romano, the guy that normally gets a lot of these, not every call, but he gets a lot of them right, believes we may be very close to the famous words, "Here we go." Reports now suggest terms are likely to be agreed on if they haven't been already, and discussions have shifted towards staffing arrangements. So this brings us to the Bournemouth, because if Iraola arrives, he likely won't be arriving on loan. That means that Tommy Elphick, Sean Cooper continue to be linked with Liverpool, and Bournemouth reportedly hoped that both men would remain part of Marco Rose's coaching staff next season at Bournemouth, but it looks like they will be joining Iraola in making this transfer. And Liverpool could potentially be assembling a large portion of the coaching group that helped Bournemouth achieve the greatest league finish in their history. Now, Pablo Della Torre is another name to watch. He's a fitness coach. He's already available after leaving Bournemouth and could become a key addition should Iraola formally accept the Liverpool job. And I say that because our fitness and availability was horrific last season. And it is a matter of getting these players to be available is the key to our success. I believe one of the major stepping stone keys of our success. Excuse me. So if you look at also what's going on in the world, we have a name that's no longer going to be with us. Reports from Spain suggest Real Madrid are closing in on a 4-year agreement with French defender Ibou Konate. If true, Liverpool supporters have every right to be frustrated because it's another deal, another free deal of a player going to Real Madrid. Another player from our back line, a coveted player from our back line. Sorry about that. My eye is trying not to touch my eye but it is definitely acting up on me. But if true, losing Trent Alexander-Arnold for nothing was painful, but then now losing Konate for nothing would be another significant failure in contract management. Let's just be honest. This is a player entertaining a lot of offers from different teams, but entering his prime years, that is important. A player who when fit, has been one of Liverpool's most dominant players. And now it appears Real Madrid may once again benefit from Liverpool's inability to secure long-term agreements. I don't want to become a team that's deemed as being a stepping stone team. Now, he's been here for quite some time, so you wouldn't think of him as being, oh, he utilized us to be like a lily pad on his way. But it is troubling. It is troubling. Yeah, I agree with Red Armchair Supporter. It'd be different if he went to Chelsea. Ooh. If he went to Chelsea, then we would be talking about different stories. But Real Madrid is bad. We'll discuss we'll discuss what's frustrating about Liverpool's defense situation when we get into this Kwanzaa story that I have later on set up in the center back situation. But before we go any further, I do want to talk about a very sad story to hear, because I mentioned it briefly earlier, and that is the need to talk about Sir Kenny Dalglish. It's not easy to talk about because football becomes secondary when discussing someone of Kenny's stature, but also discussing someone that is going through a major battle. I know I speak from experience. So Sir Kenny confirmed this week that he is undergoing treatment for cancer. And like I said, as someone who has personally gone through this fight, I want to take a moment here to say the diagnosis itself changes everything. Suddenly football doesn't matter as much as it once did because results matter, meaning the results from you getting better and the results from the tests and everything else getting better. You have to start thinking about family. You have to start thinking about health. You have to start thinking about time. And sometimes you think you have all the time in the world, and it's tough when something like this happens to you. So to King Kenny, he has certainly given Liverpool Football Club more than anyone would ever imagine. He's done almost everything in his power to help this club one way or another in its history. He's been a player. He's been a captain. He's been a manager. He's been a leader. He's been an ambassador. He's been a coach, or I said a manager, a legend, obviously. And simply, there's no Liverpool Football Club as we know it today without Sir Kenny Dalglish. So on behalf of the channel and myself especially, our thoughts and prayers and support are with you, Kenny, and your family as you go through this struggle. We wish you strength. We wish you healing. And we hope you make a full recovery, obviously, and get your life going in the right direction again. So, back to football. Okay, so back to football. Former Liverpool star, striker Emile Heskey has become another voice backing Iraola. Heskey believes that Iraola can bring heavy metal football back to Anfield. I asked earlier if you believe that too. And I didn't get a resounding yes or no. But I would like to know if you believe that too. Do you believe what Heskey? Are you in the same line as Heskey? I guess the concern with this is that when it comes to Iraola, whether Iraola can replicate the style while also handling Champions League football, something he's never done before. Jamie's not convinced. Jamie believes that this move may actually be happening 1 year too early. His argument is a interesting one. He doesn't quietly He doesn't quietly say that he doesn't support him, but he's also saying that he has questions. And he believes Iraola should have spent one more season proving his methods while working basic domestic football in Europe. I don't know if that's the truth, though. And let's being honest. I don't know if that is the honest to goodness truth that this coach isn't going to be able to manage this club and take on the rigors of what it means to be this football club. It's a legitimate concern, but it is one that is a struggle to understand why a Premier League proven coach will not be able to handle the rigors of it all. So, back in 2024, Klopp praised Iraola's transformation of Bournemouth and famously said this quote. He said, "Wow, that's real coaching coming from Klopp. That's high praise." And if Liverpool are about to appoint him, supporters at least need to take confidence from the fact that one of the greatest managers in club history clearly saw something special in Iraola. I think that's fantastic. It's a sign of faith. It's not Jurgen, leading a chant of a coach's name. It's actually him saying that he values and thinks he's a fantastic coach, which is important. Definitely important. Speaking of Liverpool's legends and long-serving Reds, our next story that I have loaded and locked and loaded for us involves a player who may have played, not may have. I'm hoping it isn't, obviously, because there is opportunity for some of these players to make U-turns, but he has played his final match for Liverpool Football Club. That's Andy Robertson. And there are a few players from the Klopp era who embody, I think, Liverpool Football Club quite like Andy. Oh, Andy. When he arrived from Hull City in 2017 for just £8 million, very few people expected him to become one of the greatest left backs in Liverpool history. I'd say in Premier League history. 9 years later, 378 appearances, Premier League winner, Champions League winner, FA Cup winner, League Cup winner, Club World Cup winner. Perhaps more importantly, one of the emotional leaders of Liverpool's greatest modern sides. I'd say he is someone that exemplifies what it is to be a Red. I think in modern day terms, especially. Reports now suggest Spurs are in pole position to sign Robbo after he reportedly reached a verbal agreement regarding personal terms. The irony here is that Tottenham tried to sign him back in January. We all know that, but it fell apart. The deal fell apart, and I think rightfully so, because I think he wanted to help this team get to a Champions League. He didn't want to kind of feel like he was abandoning ship, So, it's 16, was it? You're talking about Icorn? Yeah. It's a lot of money for Icorn, but he is worth it. He's reportedly he is a wonder kid for sure. So, oh, my eye, I'm sorry. My eye is killing me. But now it appears he will be bidding farewell. And it is a bittersweet farewell, obviously, because he's a player that I think really embraces the heartbeat of this club. embraces the heartbeat of this club. What struck me the most about Robbo's comments after the Brentford game was this: he was speaking like someone that was leaving forever, I think is the words to put. He was speaking like someone who understands what Liverpool becomes for those who truly embrace it. It becomes family, it becomes community, it becomes home for most. He specifically mentioned how both he and Mohamed Salah would be always welcome back, and that's because Robbo transcends football for us. He's got murals across the city. He's got people still with his kit. And supporters talk about Klopp's Liverpool. They'll talk about intensity. They'll talk about how two fullbacks changed the league. And that means a lot. But of course, football moves on. So we're now going on to the era of Milos Kerkez, who I think did blossom into a very nice player. We knew it was going to take time. We knew it was going to be a learning curve for him. But he has turned into a very nice player. The Hungarian has all the tools to become a star. He's replacing Robbo's minutes. He's been replacing him from the very start. And replacing Robbo's leadership is what is going to be the biggest task for Kerkez, I believe. Physically, athletically, he's got everything that you need to be a left back. But taking it that one step closer to being a leader on this team is what we're going to have to see from our left back. And I think it'd be nice, or at least what we'd like to see, because Robbo was that for us. I'd love to see where you rank Robbo on Premier League left backs. I know most people are going to put Cole in front of there. And I understand why, and I understand how he is a very dynamic player. And I know numbers aren't everything, but they do weigh something. They do have some value. Eichhorn is a promising player. He is a promising player. Very promising. Let's see. Where we left off is speaking. Well, I'll talk about a young player. Robbo is the best left back in the Prem that Hyler has seen. That's cool. I wanted to talk about big up to goal ratio, by the way. Big up. Curtis Jones, Dumfries, transfer dominoes starting to fall into place as we get closer to the World Cup, as we get closer to some summer football. And Curtis Jones continues to be one of Liverpool's most fascinating transfer stories. Inter Milan remain interested in the player. Liverpool remain very much playing their cards close to the chest. In that Liverpool reportedly look to get £30 million for Jones. Now, I think that's a deal. I think that's an absolute steal. It also means that Inter Milan are going to have to come up with £30 million, and I think that they might not have it. And that's the reason why things have somewhat stalled. Inter do not look at him as being that high of a rated player. And I'm again telling you that it's interesting because Italy, the teams that are in Italy, are all they're all pretty cheap. I don't know how to put it. Now, a potential solution may have arose, and I'm going to ask you guys in the chat if you believe this is a good idea. For our part, there's been some people have been raising this as a possibility to get this deal through, and they're willing to maybe offer up Denzel Dumfries. According to reports, Liverpool floated the possibility of involving Dumfries in discussions surrounding Jones. And at first glance, you would think that sounds interesting. Then you get into it. Dumfries brings experience. He brings athleticism. He brings Champions League pedigree. He even brings international quality. He's on the Holland national team. But Liverpool have admired him before, but that's the Scouser in the team. How else to put it? Once you dig deep, questions emerge. Where exactly does he fit? Jamie Frimpong has already arrived. It would mean that you'd have to find some landing place for him because you're probably not going to go with 3 right backs. That is, unless you look to move Connor Bradley on, and moving Connor Bradley on after an injury like he had would be a lot more difficult than moving on from Frimpong. Joey Gomez can cover, obviously, but Liverpool are hardly short of right-sided options. Meanwhile, if you do put it into consideration that you are going to get rid of Curtis Jones, it means you're going to have to probably bring someone in to fill his role as a midfielder. We're talking about bringing in Dumfries. I get it. Curtis Jones technically plays right back for us right now, but that's not really the move, I'd say, for this young man. So it should be an interesting one to see what happens with him. It should be definitely interesting. Oh, gosh, my eye. A player, I think it's because he's a player who can contribute at a Premier League level. We all know that. The challenge for Liverpool is determining whether Jones has already reached his ceiling. Do you believe he's reached the ceiling out there? Do you think that Curtis Jones can't do much more than what he's already done? Speaking of Scousers, here's my number 1 Scouser.
Evening all.
Evening. We're just talking about one of your young ones from the city, Mr. Curtis Jones, and how he might be on the move to Inter, and Liverpool want £30 million for him. I think that's a steal. I don't know if you do or not. By the way, welcome to the show, by the way, Lee. I'm sorry about that.
Well, I think he's worth it. I think he's a good enough player to command that size fee. I'd be sore if we got one, a whole lot less than that if we were to sell him. The interesting thing is what Iraola makes Curtis Jones from the outside looking in, and when he gets here, because Curtis hasn't gone to the World Cup, so it won't be long before he's taking training sessions with Curtis, will it? And the other lads who haven't gone to the World Cup. So we'll see that, and whether he wants to keep him. If he doesn't, we'll just have to get the best fee we can. I'm a little bit doubtful that Inter will cough up 30 million, because we know how Italian clubs do these days. You know what I mean? When you're buying a player off them, they want the earth. When you're selling them one, they want them for peanuts. It's totally understandable the way the Italian game's gone. The bottoms fell out a bit where money's concerned. But, at the same time as saying that, you don't want to be losing players for, ridiculous amounts. But the thing is, he's only got 1 season left, hasn't he?
Last season coming up. So I guess that could be some of the reason for the lower evaluation, because considering what you've seen some of these, especially these young talented players in midfield go for, 30 million seems like a steal considering.
Well, 20 million euros, what Dragon Wolf has put in the chat there.
Yeah.
20 million euros is sod up, mate.
Yeah.
Like lower down, you get like, I think it's about 15 million quid, and it wouldn't be up for selling them for 15 million pounds. Like, no way. That would annoy me. That'd be too cheap. But at the same time, if he wants to leave and he's only got a year left on his contract, the club might cut their losses. But I would see that as a bit of an affront, really. A bid that size, I wouldn't accept that. 15 million pounds, 20 million euros.
Yeah, 20 million euros is what? Yeah, like you said, 15 million pounds. That's an insult. So basically, you're saying you looked at our price and said, "Okay, can we get it for 50% off?" You're acting like Liverpool's a bargain bin.
Yeah, we're not giving players away. I mean, come on, like, get serious now, will you, Inter?
I mean, technically we are. I mean, I was just talking about Ibu leaving for free.
Well, you don't mind me mentioning this, but Inter Milan certainly has enough money to pay the ref in 1965. And in 1964. And in 1966, but the ref said no in 1966. And... you know what I mean? But yeah, when it was against us in Dortmund, 64 and 65, Inter paid the ref. He had enough money to shell that out, didn't he? The swines.
Scouse Adam is saying apparently Iraola's contract is only 2 years. It makes sense, to be honest with you, considering that the sporting director is only here for 1 year left. So if he were to if there be another coach or sporting director that be appointed, then at least that sporting director would be handcuffed to Iraola as being a coach for him if he didn't rate him, I guess. Yes, Reese Williams is gone. He is gone. He made his final declaration that he was leaving the team. I don't know where he's going to, by the way. Don't know where he's going. But it was going the wrong direction with his career.
Again, after that season. But he'll be remembered well, him and Nat Phillips, for helping us qualify for the Champions League. When we had no centre-backs, because that's all we had, basically, was them two. We got Kabak on loan, didn't we? But he was neither use nor ornament, and we just carried on with them two lads. Then we got the Ben Davies fella for £500,000, when poor old Jürgen was under duress to come out in the media and say, "Wow, I'm so happy. That was what I've never felt so sorry for Jürgen Klopp in all my life as that. When we bought that Ben Davies, when we badly needed a centre-back for £500,000, and he come out and said, "When I first looked, I couldn't believe it that a player like this was available." Like that. Thankfully, we never seen the bloke anyway, but like...
Yeah, he's Ben Davies is the hologram, they call him.
Well, Kabak was as well. I think Kabak got on the pitch, but like he was crap anyway, and money.
But I give Kabak credit. He played his heart out. He played for it was a team, it was a dream move, and he was going to play his heart out. And I remember him running back.
I cried for Jürgen when he had to come out and say that to the press and the media about Ben Davies. You know what I mean? There was a lump in my throat, mate.
Wow. Compassion for Ben Davies. Free Ben Davies. And he did. He eventually did get free.
Well, there's the other one, isn't there? The Tottenham fella, the left-footed one.
Who's that?
Ben Davies. Tottenham sends it back, haven't they? The left-footed fella. I haven't seen him much for a while. He's all right. He's not too...
Udogie?
Yeah, no, Ben Davies. What I was saying anyway there was about Williams, and because it was in the thing about Williams moving on, him and Nat Phillips got us out of a hole there. The thing about Nat Phillips and Reece Williams that season is neither of them had played one single second of Premier League or Champions League football ever. Nat Phillips played a few minutes in the FA Cup, and that was it.
Right.
And we had to go with them two lads for the entire season. Because that season kicked off late,
Well,
didn't it?
did you want to go? Did you want to go with Jordan Henderson at center half?
Well, we tried him and he got injured. Tried Fabinho and
Yeah.
he got everything. We were cursed that season. We had Genie played centre back that season as well. He tried everything. It was a minor miracle that we managed to qualify for the Champions League. And obviously the optics of Alisson scoring that header in injury time was mental. It was brilliant. But the fact that we managed to qualify with no centre backs for virtually an entire season was tremendous. And it was like quite some feat by Jurgen Klopp. That.
Yeah. I mean, would you trade Curtis Jones for Denzel Dumfries? Would you do a straight up swap?
Possibly. We've heard that Conor Bradley's injury might be worse. But I was on someone else's podcast and not been on before, but they said there's news, maybe there's injury is worse and it could be a career ender. Now, that's horrible. It happens in football. If that's what happens, I mean, we're going to have to make other plans quickly then. If it drags out for a while and we think he could still possibly come back and be a player, then maybe not.
Why would they say it's a season like or a career ending? Why would it be that?
Because it's really bad.
Oh, I understand that.
Yeah, I don't know. Someone's heard. I'm told
like,
in the news, somebody heard the news that it could be worse than what was feared, and it could be a career ender, which is horrible, but it happens to young players sometimes. But we will be able to then focus on who to bring in because I mean, this season, I mean, it wasn't just that like we didn't have Bradley. I mean, we didn't have Frimpong. We didn't have either or for the majority of the season, did we? Of our two fullbacks, they were both plagued with injury. So maybe the Dumfries thing would make sense. But look, if Curtis was to set his heart on a move to Inter and they said we'll swap you in for him, then maybe Dumfries is what, 29 now or something, is he now? 28.
Who's this?
Dumfries.
Oh, Dumfries. I don't know his age off the top of my head. I'd have to look it up.
Yeah, I think he's about 28 or something now. But like, I like players at that age. Defenders think he'd be good. Yeah, probably then. At that age, like, I don't know.
I think if anything, I hope that it's not that catastrophic with his injury. But if there's anything, oh wow, Dumfries is 30, dude.
Okay. Okay, well, fullbacks can play till they're 36 sometimes. Really good ones.
Oh my goodness, really good ones. There's people calling out Virgil at 34.
Hey, isn't Enzo fit for the World Cup or something?
He is. He got into friendly actually in Japan's friendly just recently. So. That's great to see. I'm so happy.
Yeah, amazing for him. He's a great lad. He's a good competitor and that, and it would have been shitty on him to miss that. It was quite a nasty injury. Again, it was one of them for us this season where he should have done it himself, didn't he? Like, it wasn't an opponent's doing. It was just the way the way the action went there. And similar with Bradley and with Ekitike, you know what I mean? It was just pure bad luck.
Yeah. Speaking of bad luck, there's a player that used to play for our team. He went on to Bundesliga and he's played well, actually. But there might be a situation where he is going to return. And that situation is Liverpool's center back situation is becoming one of the most important stories of the summer, especially with Ibu leaving. It opens up a starting position next to Virgil van Dijk, whether Virgil plays on the right or whether Virgil plays on the left. I would like to see Virgil play on the right, by the way. I know some people don't want to see that happen. I would like to see him go back to his natural position on the right side. He is a right-footed player. So it'd be nice to see him do a little work on the right side and get a left-footed center half on the left side, we fantastic, in my opinion. But we start with Jarrell Kwanzaa, and I'm not saying Jarrell Kwanzaa's that guy, but I'm just saying start Jarrell Kwanzaa, possibly returning to the club. And why that's important is because he was sold. He was sold to Bayern Leverkusen for initially 70 million. Was it 70 million? No, it was 36 million, I believe. I'm trying to think what the price was. The buyback is initially 70 million pounds. I know that. I think the buyback's like double, so it's like 35 million or something like that he was sold. I know it's double the price of what the price that we sold him for. The numbers shocked a lot of us, I think, because 70 million is a lot for a player like that. But there was logic behind it. Liverpool believed Kwanzaa has elite potential. The buyback clause wasn't there because it wasn't there because Liverpool expected him to fail. It was there because they believe he might become too good to ignore and be a player that they want to get back, that they would like to have. He's a homegrown boy, so that helps. And they wanted to get him back to England without having to pay 90 million pounds or 90 million pounds for the player. And it would have made a difference if he had to go into a Bundesliga team that wasn't willing to allow for the buyback. It's not always is the buyback deal allowed to be put onto deals. So the interesting part about it is that reports suggest that fee, now the 70 million, if we bought him back in January, or I think it was in this year, it would be a difference. Like if we buy back this summer, it will be 70 million. If we wait until 2027, the buyback clause goes to 52 million. And in essence, we would have allowed Kwanzaa to go get 2 years of professional league experience, and be able to bring him back for, 17 million, basically. Because we would have just given back their money and said, here's 17 million on top. Thank you for, basically monitoring and babysitting our lad. We'd like him back now. Do you think Liverpool should wait, Lee?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, not this summer. We definitely need someone. He's gone, which he has. So, I mean, Senesi would make sense to me. Apparently, he hasn't signed for Spurs yet, as much as Spurs fans may like that idea, that he hasn't signed for them yet. And seeing as how he was playing for Iraola up until the end of the season,
that's a good shout. I understand that. Yeah, that's a good shout.
Well, maybe
just
one, like maybe he'll come in and they'll say to him, look, Canate, we've got these three other guys and Gio, who struggle with his fitness. Maybe he'll say, get him right. Marcos Senesi. It would make sense to me.
Do you think I know you rate him, but do you think he's that good? Do you think he's that level of player?
Well, does he have to be that good to be backup centre back? Yeah, you want to go player, but what I like is
so you're looking at him as a backup. I got you. I'm looking at him as like, we got to find.
I wouldn't have any problems with him playing. Plays for Argentina, and they're a good international side. He hasn't been capped loads, but he'd been capped long before this season when he won his place back in the Argentina squad. And they're a very good international team. They wouldn't cap him, or they wouldn't cap him if he was crap, would they, Argentina? So yeah, I'd say that much. He's looked good. I mean, he's looked good since he came in. Before they had Heisen and before Zabani was there. Like, I was looking at him, thinking he's good. He's doing good in an emerging team, which it was under the role at the time. And crescendo to that really was them finishing 6th this season. You know, took them all the way to 6th this season. Iraola with Senesi at the back.
Right, right. He's just a surprise. I guess maybe it's because I don't watch Bournemouth enough. But he wasn't even like the most coveted player on their team.
I'm thinking about the money we've got to spend. There are quite a few positions that need filling, a few holes in the team and in the squad that need filling. So if we could have a free transfer to get things up and running, all the better. You know, it would give us more chance of maybe spending big in another position, such as, you know, the wings, in the wing. Right?
I'd rather spend big by going for like a Baleba, or going big and bringing in like I don't know, an Alvarez or something like that. Because people are sleeping on the fact that Ekitike, if you're talking about, it's going to be a little while of a wait for Connor Bradley, it's going to be the same for Ekitike, whose game requires speed. So it should be very interesting to see how that unfolds. Would you wait? Basically, do you think that we can wait for Kwanzaa and for that price to go down to 52 million?
Maybe see where we are next summer. I would say, like, and you know what's going on then. This summer I wouldn't go there. I'd look somewhere else. Like, but all will be revealed soon enough. Anyway, what positions he wants to. We want to bolster, and the sort of players that he wants us to bring in, or wants to be part of bringing in. See, the thing with Joe is, like, he's very good when he can play, and he's he can play like right back, right centre back, left back, but just hasn't been fit this season. If we're using the last season, as the metric, like, to judge him by, then last season it just wasn't good enough. He just wasn't there often enough to give us an option. And there's only so long you can, you can do that as a squad with a player. There comes a time when you have to cut your losses, and move up on and replace them with somebody else.
I agree with that completely. But what's frustrating about Joey is that he'd finally get starts and he'd get injured in the game. Like, he'd play 20 minutes and then have to come off. And I'm just like, it's one thing if you can plan around not having to, not have him in the squad. That's one thing, but you couldn't even plan to have him in the squad when he was in the squad sometimes. That's unfortunate about Joey.
Yeah, he's a useful player, Joe, but he's got to be fit and with the best will in the world towards him. He's been a great servant to the club, but his fitness record this season just gone, which is, the most important one. The season just gone. Now we need someone else. So then with Ibu leaving, say we had Senesi, for instance, that'd give us 4, which is usually what we go with for. Sadly, I always think it's 1 too little. I think even in the Klopp years, we were always 1 centre-back light. We always had 1 option less than what we truly needed to be ultra competitive with everybody else.
Right.
I think City had 8 last season. I think,
they even went out and got another one.
Pick from this season.
They even went out and got the center half that we wanted in Gehi.
Yeah. Well, I mean, even before that, last season, once they bought Reece and Kutsan off, they already had 6 before that. That made 8. You know what I mean? And here's us with 4, with half that. Like, so even with someone coming in to replace Karate, I would still like an extra body to replace Joe and to move Joe on. As I say, all due respect, best will in the world, but Joe's fitness last season told me once and for all that, like, we need somebody else to rely on.
Yeah.
That's
who I would have liked to have seen.
Go on.
Oh, sorry, I was going to say, Lee. You know what I would like to have seen it wasn't going to happen most likely, but I would have liked to seen probably one of your dad's preferred players, Brathwaite.
Dumfries.
Yeah.
I've never really asked my dad about him if he likes him much. Like, I'll have to ask him that one. Yeah, he's not bad, Dumfries. We'd never buy him though because he's at Everton. David Moyes rather die than sell us Jarvis Brantwaite. And if he did,
Yeah.
he'd want like
Well,
$1 billion time, like he'd
he's
put
got
his finger in the corner of his mouth. $1 billion.
$1 million. Yeah.
Well, that'd be
No.
a million for him, like, but not a billion.
He's an interesting player, and it's just saying that it's unfortunate because he ended up getting injured at the end of the season for them, and it was a pretty bad injury. It was a pretty bad injury, season-ending injury, I believe it was. So, there's a lot of players though that would possibly have to compete with Kwanzaa if he was coming back. You're talking about a year of Jaquette, a year of Leone, maybe positioning themselves better with Liverpool than some of us might perceive them to be.
Well, so far,
Why
Bournemouth.
is he trying to steal my guy? Did the goal ratio hear me say the Matoma before?
Do you know what? I do really like him. He's bloody dangerous. And we had Minamino, of course. It was quite handy and scored quite a lot of goals, Terry Minamino. But Matoma.
I bet you Minamino would tell him, would like give rave reviews about moving to Liverpool.
Yeah, I do like Karen Matoma. I do think he's good. And we're looking for players in those positions, aren't we?
He's just, Matoma's it's his last year in his contract.
Yeah, he's definitely got a bit of stick and pace about him, Matoma.
Right.
Like, so he's tacky, to be honest, like, but he can't half finish sometimes. Like, when he's got something in mind, Matoma, no one can stop him, when he's at his best. Like, when he thinks about a finish, like, he can finish from all sorts of, like, different angles, can't he? Great player, him, yeah.
Mm-hmm. This is interesting. I guess obviously with the exit of their DM at Manchester United, they were going to get a DM again. They were looking at maybe getting Tonali. They were looking at possibly getting Bruno G. Scouse Adams saying that apparently Man United have signed Ederson. That was a name that was out there too, as well.
We're talking about Atalanta, Ederson.
Yeah, Atalanta. Yeah. Yep.
God, they've had so many DMs in recent years. I mean, they had Casemiro. He's gone. Yeah, he's buggered off, hasn't he, Casemiro? But they've had so many DMs in recent years, haven't they? Amrabat, Ugarte. The list is endless. We'll see how he does for them. I like the look of him, and Ederson, when he was at Atalanta. He looked like a good DM.
Yeah. Yeah, that'd be interesting to see who they bring in. And Red Armchair Supporter is right. Endo could be possibly our best ambassador at convincing Matoma to become a Red. I'm telling you, it's not a bad idea. I know he's 28. I want to say he's 28, and still got pace. He would, he's definitely electric. He's definitely capable of getting crosses in. He can score himself, but he's more of like a pace merchant when it comes to that left side. I think he's a good player. I love Japanese players in general. I just think I like Japanese and Korean players. I think that they are very disciplined and they bring about a certain element to the game that is very, very principled. So I've always liked those types of players on teams. Scott Adams saying good goal for Kumas for Wales. I didn't see. Did you see the goal?
No, I haven't. No.
Okay. Nakata. Okay. Marco Silva is set to take over at Benfica. Okay. Scouse Adam saying he wants to see Iraola play the likes of Kumas and Prince Cisse, etc. this season in cup games. Okay. Big up to the streets. The streets have arrived, people. Always good to see the streets. Streets have your back. You never have to worry about anything in the world. There you go. Are you looking forward to Iraola? I'm looking forward to anything that takes us away from the football that we were playing last season. I'll say it that way. How about that?
Yes, I'm excited for many different reasons. Since it was pretty much confirmed that he is going to be the manager, a few videos have hit YouTube, people looking at his tactics and that. And I can't say I'm ever one of those guys that looks too much into tactics and that. I just watched this Bournemouth team quite a lot over the last 3 seasons, and you can see what a coach's tactic is really from watching their matches, can't you? And seeing how they played us 6 times since he's been their manager, I think. So anyway, I'm excited because he likes to attack and take risks and get on the front foot. Obviously, he's stupid. He doesn't want to take stupid risks. He wants risk and reward, but you have to take risks at the right time. And with the offensive players we've got, and that hopefully we can bring in to add to that, it should be quite some rise, I think. And I'm really looking forward to it. For me, the bit that I'm concerned about is how he plugs the goals against, how he chops the goals against thing right down from where it was, because we can seize it more goals than we ever have ever, I think. At least in the Premier League era, I can't remember us ever conceding this many goals in my bloody lifetime, and I'm knocking on now. But at least in the Premier League era, we conceded way too many goals, and they were way too easy for opponents to score over and over again. So I want to see him sort that. And I'm looking forward to him working with Xhaka and Leone. I think he's got a track record of, working with young centre-backs and improving. So if it's one of them 2 lads this season who gets the nod to be Virgil's partner, I'll be interested to see. For me, we definitely need that defensive midfield signing. Play with Gravenberch, find someone who can suit Gravenberch profile-wise, and put him next to him. For me, I don't want to see. If I want to see McAllister all the season, it would be in friggin' 10, you know what I mean? But we've already got Wirtz and Sobbers, so we definitely need someone in midfield, to protect the defence. Blindingly obvious to anyone who watches football.
2 questions then. Chat, engage in this, and streets, Rasta Crab. The second part of the question, go easy on, okay? Because I know you're probably going to get triggered. But first part of the question is this. Rasta Crab just put into the chat that he thinks that Damis Abaslai could end up walking, in the sense of he could end up going to, or not going to, but he could end up being sold if he doesn't extend his deal. And that would be horrible to see. I think Damis Abaslai has definitely played himself into the hearts and minds of a lot of Reds worldwide, but he apparently wants a salary of £300,000 a week. Now, that's what the report is. He currently earns 120. So you'd be it's always something where I always say, I get it that you want these big salaries, but normally a salary that's reasonable is something that says, okay, what are you making now? 120? Cool. Make it 240.
Yeah, that's what annoyed me with Ebu. The money that he wanted compared to the money that he was on, it was more than double. It was best part of the way towards triple. And that would be the same with Szoboszlai. If he is saying that, which I kind of doubt he is, that he wants that much, if he was to re-sign, then I would tell him to yeah, you should go.
Go do one or something.
I decided not to. But I don't think he'd be looking for like 300 grand from where he is now at 120 to re-sign. Somewhere in the middle of that, I think.
Okay. I was about to say hello to Peter. Oops. Hello and greetings to Peter. He's asking. I do have a second part to that question, but I'll 300 million. That's a lot, man. I know it's not our money. People will say, "Oh, it doesn't matter. It's not your money." Blah blah blah. You know, but you can't pay everyone 300,000.
No,
you just can't.
No.
Eventually, your wage bill is just going to become so enormous that it's not going to be sustainable.
I feel quite confident that he's never said that he wanted that type of money to re-sign. I think that's a bonus.
Oh, you mean Ibu?
Yeah, I wouldn't put much credence in that, like that he's asked for 300 grand per week.
Oh, well, I'm talking about roster crap saying pay Dominic his money. Can play almost every position. He's saying runs for days, the exact player Iraola wants. That's the truth. He does. He is the prototypical player that you would expect Iraola to want on his team. And we do have to start preparing ourselves to get players back in that type of mold. I already spoke about how this team has already started to move away from that and get more tactical players that may not be the kind of versatile physical players that you get with Dominic, but what's your thoughts on what are your thoughts on Konate leaving? Peter is asking this question.
Me, I'm not that sad. I actually wanted to get rid of him before Block came in and Jurgens last season. I reached my limit with his injuries because he was never fit for more than 6 to 8 weeks. 2 months usually he'd be fit. This is before Slot came in. We never got more than that out of him, like, you know what I mean? And then he was out injured again, sometimes for a long time, sometimes for a short time. But his fitness record was bad before Slot walked in. Slot's first season, he didn't get injured apart from that one thing when Ensrick tackled him and he had a couple of months out. Apart from that, he was fit all season. But I wanted him to go before that, like, because of his fitness record. Now, when he's fit and when he's at his best, no, I'll just say when he's fit, first of all, and then I'll say, then when he's at his best, he's very, very good. But he just isn't at his best often enough. He's too Jekyll and Hyde about. For a player, a guy who plays for France, and has got a big name and a big rep and all that, he's too Jekyll and Hyde. You just don't know what you're going to get from him. And that was the same even when we won the title. He put some shocking performances in. He put some of his best, well, he did put his best ever performances in Liverpool shirt in that season, but also some terrible ones, let's not forget. And then last season, it's just gone. I mean, forget about it, man. I mean, the whole team suffered, but he was one of our worst players on a number of occasions, and that's the way it is.
Just reading something about some of these other players that are on my list here. £1,000 per week is a lot, though. I was just going to say the second part of my question was Dom wants 400,000. There's a chance, and then I'd say earmuffs to Rustic Rap for this one. But there's a chance that because of the exit of Arne Slot, Harvey Elliott now has a chance to make another run with Liverpool. Are you willing to give him that shot? Are you willing to give him that shot, Lee? I know Rasta Crab's answer, so you don't have to give it. You don't have to give the streets does not have to give the answer to that question. But
What if Mo said he'd come back for the rest of his contract? Have him? He's saying, why not? If Iraola thought he could use him, why not? I don't think that'll happen. Like, I think he did pick the right time, because he was looking at it himself, obviously, as a player, like, his own body, fitness, like, and how hard it was for him to have an effect this season. It wasn't just that we had a bad season. A lot of it was because of that and the way we tried to change the way we played. Him and Cozy suffered more than most players outwise, but I think he has picked the right time to finish like his Liverpool career. And I wish him success in his future endeavours, as I do to Arnie. Don't bear any ill will against Arnie. I'm just glad the fella's gone, you know what I mean? Not his fault, like he didn't turn out to be the manager we thought he'd be. And I wish him success wherever he goes, like.
Sorry, Rasta Crab does not like ringlets. Not that he doesn't like him. He just doesn't rate him as heavily. You're just talking about a player that loves the team. You're saying, what'd you say earlier? Write a message saying how much you love the club, but I am just going to walk away for free. That's the love I don't need. Harvey Elliott's a player that gave up a year of football basically, but still wants to be a Liverpool Red. Has always wanted to be a Liverpool Red, and he has always given his heart and soul to the team. Just saying.
One thing I've always felt
football romantic. I know football romantic.
Footballing era, he could have been amazing maybe for us, but in this footballing era, he's a bit too slow. Maybe even for the Premier League, and he'd be better off abroad somewhere where he could prosper more, I think. I mean, I love him. He's a smashing kid, like a lot of the players, just have come and gone, smashing fella, nice kid and all that. He's still got some bad haircut, though. He's had bad haircuts ever since he came here. The first one was bad, where he had a ponytail, and it was shaved at the sides with lines in it, tram lines in it. That one was atrocious. Then he went for the ringlets, didn't he? And I've seen him when Villa won the Europa League, and he's got some new thing, but it's still a bit of a catastrophe.
Mm-hmm.
He's a lovely fella, and you know what I mean. I wish him success.
Goal ratio. There's a lot of statements in here about Elliott. I definitely kicked kicked the hornet's nest, or isn't that how they say it? I don't know. It's something. I'm not good with those kinds of terms. But
no, kick the hornet's nest. It's one thing you don't want to do. Kick the hornet's nest. Bad news, mate. Sorry. No, go on. I was going to go on some tangents.
No. Let's try to stay focused here.
Yeah, don't forget hornets. Scary though, mate. Then when they come out, all mad.
Yes, they can be a a bee in the bonnet. Isn't that's another one of them? All right, let me get back to being on the right path here and tell you guys bring your comments into the conversation. Rasta says, on the real, the Harvey ship has sailed. Let him go. Get a regular start somewhere else. Some of our favorite players could be balling out under the new guy. Says Red Armchair supporter. Scouts Adam says he would keep him. Big up Adam. I like you. Goal ratios says, will Elliott accept being a bench player? And Crab asked the same. Is he okay being a bench player? He was when he was with he would have taken that with Villa if he had the opportunity. But I think this is why I like Harvey Elliott, in that he was asked that same question before. Does he want to be no player wants to be a bench player. However, if there's a role and it's a necessary role on the team, and you can be that guy, if you're a team player, you'll make the sacrifice. I think having as I think it was Goal Ratio said he's had a sabbatical, a year off sabbatical with his football, playing 7 games or 8 games, something like that, or not even. Or actually, it was 8 games, I believe, but it wasn't. He had to have like 8 games or 10 games in the Premier League, not in just any competition. But all the same, I just think that like a player like that could help, like as in he could help because he's not going to make waves. He's not going to make waves. He's going to be supportive to the young talent, allowing them to being maybe a helpful influence in their development. And he's going to be a player that when he goes out on that pitch, he's going to give you 110%. He's going to work his butt off. And if anything, he's playing with a chip on his shoulder. He had a year of football taken away from him. He now wants to make a point. And if it ends up being him getting maybe a year of playing off the bench and then next year having that conversation of moving him on to a team that will utilize him as a starter, more power to him. But I'm not saying we owe it to him, but I am saying it would be nice. It'd be a nice ending to a story. How about that?
Yeah. It will be. It's nice when that happens in football. I mean, he knows the territory. He's played enough times for us, hasn't he, in the Premier League and in other competitions. Got that great winner in Paris, didn't he, last season? Well, not last season.
Absolutely. People forget.
I know. I don't want to do him down. I just felt like that because we bought Wirtz and we already had Szoboszlai, his career here was done because that's the position that he's best in, that he plays. I wouldn't be putting him in any other position. Like, I wouldn't be putting him on the right wing or anything like. I don't think. But I think you never know. Stranger things have happened in football than that. Iraola walks in, looks at the bunch of them like, and thinks, can use this lad. Who knows? Who knows what's going to happen? I was sad the Villa thing never worked out. Because, he made the decision to make the break, went all the way down there to Birmingham, not that far from Liverpool, but far enough, and then just couldn't get a game, and I didn't feel sad for him over that.
No, you know what? I'm not going to say much more about Ringlets. I'm just going to say, yes, I do rate the player. I think he's a good I think he's a good lad. I think he's got the proper temperament. But also, one thing we learned from a lot of the reports is that whether it's Rio, whether it's Trey, look, I would like to see Trey Neone get more minutes this season. Especially, I would have liked to see him get more minutes last season. But I in the wrong word. Okay. Why I'm bringing that up is because one of the stranger narratives surrounding Arne Slot's dismissal was the suggestion that he ignored Liverpool Academy. I'm trying to get across that unless you are a player like Dom Szoboszlai, or you're a player like obviously a seasoned superstar like Virgil van Dijk, or maybe even Mohamed Salah to lesser of a extent. But still, the point is, unless you're in that sweet spot of the age range, Arne Slot was just not paying attention to you. So the evidence doesn't really support that claim at times, because you could start to say, well, what about Rio? Didn't he play Rio a lot? And I'm like, yes, but we had 2 youth academy players, and I would say, how many minutes you could probably count the minutes on your hands and probably toes of how many minutes Trey Neone got this season. Rio was just an inspiration, but it's also for the fact that we let go Lucho. So we were looking to make a road towards him getting more minutes this season. And a 17-year-old playing alongside some of England's biggest stars, that doesn't happen naturally, like accidentally. It happens with hard work, and it happens with talent. but multiple sources have pushed back strongly against that idea that that Slot didn't pay any attention really to the academy. I had a story yesterday that I spoke on about saying that there were people in the academy that said they actively were upset and frustrated because Arnie paid no mind to them. Name players other than obviously Trey and Rio. You could say, oh yes, they are youth academy players, but they're senior players. They're not youth academy players any longer. They got senior contracts. Name someone from the youth academy that had decent minutes. I mean, Jaden Dans would have probably gotten that, but we just unfortunately didn't see him because of injuries. Other than that, who else got minutes? And you can go as far as to say, look at Tyler Morton, for instance. Tyler Morton was a youth academy player, promising young man, played the DM role for us, and went on to France and has definitely done well for himself. But at the same time, he said that he was putting in the work. He said that he was thinking that he thought that he was in line to get some type of minutes, and they end up not getting him. And that's someone that's proven himself. Rio played 29 matches this season. At the beginning of the season, did you think that Rio was going to play 29 matches? You had a debut from Kyrian Morrison. You had a debut, you had a couple of games where Nello had the opportunity to get red cards. No, I'm just joking, Nello. That's harsh. But you had Kai Gordon, unfortunately, get an opportunity to play. And that was great because Kai Gordon's had a very, very troubled pathway to getting back to the level of football that he was almost relatively assured to be playing. Will Wright and Dea all had made match day squads. Miskayor was on the bench. But it was an interesting perspective because we're talking about Miskayor, who's a goalkeeper, but still the same. Is because we're talking about a team that would sometimes go with 2, if not 3 goalkeepers on a team. Excuse me. It's a lot of names. I get that. But I still don't think that just because they showed up for the bus ride or because they got to watch the game and then get in for 4 minutes at the end of a game doesn't really say, hey, this is a League Cup final and we're down players. What are you going to do? We know what Jurgen did. And you got to have the confidence in those players to be able to do so. Otherwise, you're fooling yourself. I think youth academy is very, very important. I know we spoke about this yesterday about the youth academy. So,
I mean, there's a lot needs to happen in the transfer market this summer, and we don't know exactly what type of players he may want in Iraola in certain positions. But one thing I'm sure he'll want is a fresh injection of pace in the wide positions. Yeah. We definitely need that, don't we? Because he likes to press, doesn't he? Likes to win the ball back up high. So, I mean, it was the one when Klopp first came in, had Firmino. He was always the first line of defence, when he with his press, and his harrying. And then Mane and Salah just played off him on their press, didn't they, as well? And the speed that they had to get close. They not only
had speed, they had pace. They had pace, but they also had skills. Like, they were good dribbling wingers too. But speaking of pace, I was going to tell you about a story about Frimpong. There was a report that apparently Jeremy Frimpong was caught celebrating PSG's win. I don't understand why we'd have to explain himself celebrating Arsenal's defeat to PSG. Some supporters loved it, others didn't. The larger story, I guess you could say, isn't Arsenal. It's about Liverpool, because while Arsenal were chasing European glory, Liverpool were conducting one of the biggest, obviously, managerial swaps, and we're looking at different players that are going to be leaving or going, or leaving, or maybe even joining our team. It's just interesting. I don't know why people are getting all up in arms over Frimpong caught on Instagram celebrating PSG winning, or maybe he was just celebrating Arsenal losing. That's how I look at it. I don't want him to celebrate PSG winning, but I wouldn't mind him celebrating Arsenal losing. Oh, there was a question for you, Lee. Let me see if I can find the question. I put the question up there for you, but let me see if I can find it. Someone had a question for you, and I can't find. No, I don't think I started. I think it was from Scouse Adam. But he did have a question for you. Oh, here it is. Are you going to go to the friendly games at Anfield, Lee?
Might do.
Oh, that'd be cool.
I haven't done for years, like gone to any of the friendlies, but yeah, I wouldn't rule it out. Like,
that's cool. Horses, yeah. I am going to hopefully get these tickets for Chicago. I wouldn't mind going. The stadium, and the people are like, "Oh, you think you'd want to go to Yankee Stadium?" No, I don't like the Yankee Stadium. So there you have it. I've been to Yankee Stadiums before. I watched the Mets play. The Yankees. Actually, Subway Series. It's called here. It's a big deal.
I always enjoy seeing like any game in an American stadium in America, like a baseball, football, basketball's indoors, isn't it? But I would enjoy going to one of those big open air American sized stadiums with all the accoutrements and that they have to see maybe like a game of gridiron or a game of baseball.
Yeah, they have the New York City FC, who is Manchester City's MLS team. They play, or I think they still do, but they played at their home stadium was was Yankee Stadium for a long time. I think it might still be. I have to double check on that. But it's more of like, it's not exactly sometimes enjoyable to watch other sports in stadiums that aren't set up for that sport. You know what I mean? So like because the sight lines are different, and just like the spacing from where you'll be able to like see or be able to like feel like you're a part of the game is different. But
you always have big screens in America, like if you're in the stadium for baseball and you're miles away from the guy who's batting and pitching, there's a big screen to show you. I mean, God, we haven't had screens in England for that long, and even the ones we've had, they weren't there to show you any action. It was just there to show you something else. Like, you know what I mean? That's what I always liked about American stadiums, like that you had the big screens.
Yeah, you definitely have. The screens are ridiculous. You go to SoFi Stadium in Los Angeles, or even or in Dallas, like the big screens are like the size of small stadiums themselves, basically. So it is ridiculous. Like I think Vegas and LA and Dallas all have like three of the biggest.
Well, I can think of many a match at Anfield when I was like younger and that, like where I was like, you know, the opposite end from the goal, and if only there was a big screen showing you that, like, okay, you got to see it when you went home, like, and it was on telly if it was on Match of the Day. But at the time, like a big screen wouldn't have.
I like those big screens. Because sometimes you miss the play, and you'd like to see the replay of it. You know, that's all. Sometimes you miss it. And New York City FC do play their home games at Yankee Stadium, and they play some of their home games at Citi Field. Citi Field is where the New York Mets play. So it's in Queens, New York, Astoria. Yes. Oh, wow. And looks like they're in the final chapter before they move into their own football. But it says soccer specific here, but it's football specific venue, Etihad Park in Willets Point in Queens. Oh, wow. Oh, it's set to open in next year. They're going to have their own little stadium. Good for them. Yeah. All right. That was my little bit of a final thought, but I do have a moment of red zen for you. I did see Fabrizio Romano say, breaking news, Liverpool have reached an agreement in principle to appoint Andoni Iraola as their new manager. If true, then Liverpool's next chapter officially begins. The hope now is simple. Iraola learns from the mistakes of the previous regime. He restores our identity, and he reconnects with the fans. He reconnects the football with the players, and thus brings that bridge together so we can comfortably watch football again and enjoy football all over. He reminds Europe exactly what Liverpool Football Club can be. But there is something that is so enjoyable. I'm going to show you something, Lee, that you might not have known, I'm sure you did know, but you might not have realized. I'll say it that way. Let me get this ready for you. There was something I saw, and I was thinking this, okay, just recently. Let me bring up the Here We Go. Whoops, my bad. It is behind your head. The Here We Go is right there, right? For this man right here, who's going to be a Liverpool manager, most likely, right? Well, there was something interesting that I saw, and what I saw was this. Let me bring up the next picture. There are some wild theories out there. You know, some of us that believe in, if you're asking if JK was here, he'd be talking about horoscopes probably and the likes, right? Numbers and astrology and all that stuff, all that good stuff, and the stars. Well, maybe the stars are lined up for us, people. Maybe Arsenal winning the league was a good thing. Sounds weird. Coming from me, it must sound extremely, extremely weird to hear. But let me just sit back and let me explain why. The wild theory is this. Remember this man right here? Well, 2004, Arsenal won the league. Liverpool sacked their manager. Liverpool hired a Spaniard. Liverpool went on to win the Champions League. Arsenal win the league in 2026. Liverpool sacked their manager. Liverpool prepared to hire a Spaniard. Coincidence? I say nay. So maybe we can have a little bit of hope.
Yeah, maybe he could outfox his compatriot Luis Enrique. We'll come up against him for the third time, but this time we'll knock the effers out. Or beat him in the final even. Who knows? Who knows? It's a Spanish world now, isn't it? Or it's a Spanish, a Basque world at the moment. We've got Iraola, Emery, Alonso, Arteta, all Basques. Yeah, it's a Basque bum fight now, isn't it? The Premier League. All these bald managers have had their marching orders like Slot, Dyche, Eric Ten Hag, Guardiola, and it's a new thing, isn't it now? The new thing is the Basque thing.
It is. I mean, look, if history decides it wants to repeat itself one more time, I think we're all here for it, right? We're all here for it.
Who's to say he couldn't deliver it? Who's to say he couldn't at this right now? It seems a bit of a fairy tale, but fairy tales sometimes come true, as we all know.
Yes, they do. Yes, they do, Mr. Walt Disney. They do. And who knows? I mean, some could say it was a fairy tale to see Arne Slot, first-year manager, take a team and go and win the Premier League. What's to say? Our guy right here, the Spaniard, right? Like Gladiator. Remember how we used to all think that Jurgen Klopp was the Gladiator? He was the Spaniard. That's what they called him in the movie, right?
Yep.
Our Gladiator. Maybe he comes. He joins this club, and he brings us a Champions League. And then, you got Thiago. I say Thiago, Milner, bring Thiago, Milner, and Stevie G, and let's just go win the Champions League next season. How about that? Are you with me?
Yeah. Sure am. All the way.
There you go. So, well, again, what's on your mind? Anything else that you want to talk about before we bounce out of here?
Yeah, that trophy is on my mind. I can't stop looking at it since you said that. I mean, it is about time we won our seventh, isn't it? Like, you know what I mean? We need to be up there with AC Milan in second spot, neatly behind the old Real Madrid, who have probably got so many now that no bugger will catch them. So, to be up on 7 with AC Milan would be splendid. Absolutely splendid.
Fantastic.
And I used to say
I think we've got it
particularly well next season.
Yeah. How about this? Arne Slot gets hired by AC Milan. AC Milan have a fantastic, overly fantastic run to get to the Champions League final. They have a run, and they get fortunate, same way Arsenal did this season, to find themselves in the Champions League. Arne Slot has done his magic all over. He's in the Champions League final, and looking across that sideline, looking sideways on that sideline, he's looking at Iraola, who just beat PSG in the semifinal to make it to the final. Wow, you can't write it much better than that, could you?
No, that'd be good, wouldn't it? I always loved Milan because of them great teams. it was them who succeeded us in dominating Europe. Like after we were banned, they were the next team to come in and dominated the trophy, the way we did beforehand. Right. I always liked them. And then we played them twice. Obviously, won one final, lost the other. But what I liked is a while ago, I was seeing on TV some AC Milan fans. They come over here now to Anfield because after the first game, like when we were 3-0 down at half time, and our fans were singing their heads off. They were like, "Oh, we understand there's something special about this club now." You know what I mean? So we want to come over here and have a look. And I thought that was really nice. You know what I mean? Because even though it was such said, it was such a horrible night for us, like Istanbul, but the way your fans kept singing, like at half time when you were 3-0 down, really said something to us, like, so we thought we'd go over and visit and that. I mean, they got their revenge and that, but it was a nice piece that
they did. They did.
Yeah. Because before that, we were just another big European club with a decent record. They had no real connection to us, like, but after them 2 finals, they did.
Yeah. I mean, I'm trying to also connect the sheer fact that we would be facing AC Milan in the Champions League again, in Champions League final again. It couldn't be any more lined up with that. How fantastic would that be?
But Arnie's going to need a secret source of cash if he is to take over AC Milan and take them back to the Champions League final, even just back into the Champions League at this stage. Would be something. I mean, we're going to need an awful lot of a secret stash of cash to get them back up, like where their fans feel they belong. But would be a weird one, wouldn't it?
Like, just like Lee said earlier, we can dream, can't we? We can certainly dream. Never take that away from us. So, Lee, what are you thinking? What are your thoughts? You want to say anything before we bounce out of here?
I'm just excited about what's coming anyway now, and just pleased that there's going to be a new era, because I think we all felt relief like when the news came through that Arnie had been sacked. I'll say it again, best winner of the world to the man. Thanks and everything for what you did in the first season, but last season was just so appallingly bad. So he couldn't come back from that, like, and it's no wonder they let him go. I'm just excited to see what happens now and see what this guy can do for us, like, and how quickly he can do that for us. So, it's a new era. Let's all be excited about it.
Yeah,
with a note of caution, there has to be a note of caution as well, but, get as excited as you can at this point. Yeah,
you do. You have to get excited. You have to get, optimistic and everything else. Red Armchair supporter concurs with your sentiments, Lee. Scott Adams says, "Nah, imagine if AC Milan beat us. I cannot imagine that." Red Armchair also said Thiago return would be warmly welcomed, and Rasta Crabs is loved as always. Great stream 12, and Lee up the Reds. So good way to end it. Lee, say your good nights, I guess.
Yeah, cheers everyone. Thanks everyone who's been in. Cheers for your contributions. See you again.
Yeah. My sentiments exactly. I hope everyone has a great evening and an even better Wednesday. And people, hey, new era begins. Who knows? Maybe this could be our future. Maybe. But we'll see you guys tomorrow. I'll have a show ready for us tomorrow. Hopefully Lee will be with us and JK.
I just say before you go, it would have been funny if there was a Photoshop thing of Arteta behind Rafa there, like looking at the European Cup. If he was one of them 4 hours, like with his eyes on it. Just Photoshop into the picture.
I'll work on something like that. Maybe it's like Arteta, like what's his name? Grimace, isn't he the Hamburglar or something like that, right? Who's the guy from McDonald's? He's got.
Because hamburger, I always found him a questionable character. I mean, any guy who wants to steal a hamburger that costs 69 pence. I mean, what the hell is that?
You gotta always question that.
So, bro, I know the show's about to finish, I reckon.
Yeah, there is.
Stay on JK's here, should we? Just to celebrate a bit more.
Celebrate the good days.
Good days.
Good days.
That is the I can't remember. I think it's the Hamburglar. Isn't it the Hamburglar? I don't know. I can see him being like looking like the Hamburglar.
Yeah,
Hazard,
just
yeah. You're about Hazard.
Huh?
You're about Hazard?
No,
I said for a laugh, right, we should have photoshopped Arteta onto that picture of Rafa next to the European Cup. So one of those four guys behind him was Arteta, with his eyes firmly on it, but pulling the mean-spirited face like he was going to steal it or something. Thought that'd be funny.
Yeah, hilarious, actually.
Bless the red arm,
Big up. I can't see if I can. I'm gonna put something together. I'll have it for tomorrow. Maybe that'll be our Red Zens for tomorrow. What are you thinking, JK? What are you thinking?
I'm just happy that we got a manager before the World Cup instead of Slot still being in the job throughout the whole summer, and we're like, when's he going? Now we can plan for the future a little bit now, player wise and whatever, coaches and stuff. I'm the same with Thiago. Get that lad in. I love the way he talks about football. Even Iraola, he talks good about football as well, like deep, So it'll be a good combination to get them two in.
Yeah. Agreed. I think that they would be excellent player. Excellent. He'd be an excellent addition. I think. My suggestion. Apparently, Crab thought it was a little bit asking too much to see Milner and Stevie join as well, but hey, like I said, it doesn't hurt to ask. Why not?
Yeah, I think he's got a few of his people he's going to take with him. I've seen a few names.
Yeah, I did. Yeah. He's going to bring some of his crew with him, like his trying to think what they call it, his fitness guy, and maybe his assistants as well. Two of his assistants will come with him. So 69 pence.
He's going to bring his assistants in anyway. I mean, obviously we suspected as much. One of them is this Tommy Elphick guy, isn't it? He was a player for Bournemouth. So we thought, you know him.
Yeah. All right.
That's how much hamburgers were when McDonald's first came to the UK, or when I first started going and was likely to buy one. There was 69 pence. The big thing is that, I don't think I'd ever had gherkins, and it was the sliced gherkin in it that really appealed to me, along with the ketchup and whatever. But yeah. Quite cheap. There's no need for hamburgers to steal one, really, was there, when they're that cheap. I understand, though, the very tasty items, and he wanted more than one. Maybe he didn't have enough money, thought he'd steal a few. But you can't trust guys like that, mate.
That's funny. All right. We're going to push out here. We're at the 2-hour mark. Big up to JK for joining us. I'll give you guys a double dose of Red Zen. Since you're just talking about the Champions League and how it'd be great to see this version, our new version of the Spaniard that will be coaching our team to win the league. But or not to win the league, but to win the Champions League. But all right, this, like you said, we'll have to do our best to watch out for this guy next season. Whoops, let me move your thing. I'm sorry.
That's brilliant. Oh, the ties for me. I just tops it all off. That is superb. Well, when is the next? He's going to really get close to the Champions League trophy. Maybe he'll go to Paris, like, or a reconnaissance mission, and he'll do like like the Pink Panther, where there's a diamond thief. He'll try and get into their like trophy room and nick it. Get over all the censors and that. He'll be doing backflips trying to evade the censors so he can grab hold of the Champions League trophy.
That's too funny, that picture.
It actually goes, tell you the truth. It looks like it really goes well together. But he tried to steal the Champions League. He failed with his arch nemesis against his. I won't say arch nemesis, but he's failed. So hopefully we can make him fail next season.
You're able to do that just off what I said a minute ago, like about the European Cup. That is brilliant. That hilarious, mate.
We will see.
Next time I see him dressed like that, you know it. Next time I see him sat there talking or stood there talking, I'm going to see him like that. He'll have the hat on, the glasses on, the whole kit and caboodle. Like.
Whole kit and caboodle, for sure. All right, but we're gonna bounce out here. Okay, everyone, take care. We'll see you tomorrow. Up the Reds as always, and we will see you tomorrow. Take care and good night.